We have Chana Acheru, Programs Manager, Wazobia FM Port Harcourt. Chana, thank you very much for joining us on the show today. What exactly do you think is going wrong with Nigerian football? For the women now, yes, we've crashed out of the tournament, but maybe my first question should be, have you forgiven the coach, Justin Madugu, because he has said we should forgive him, that he has taken responsibility for what happened, and he believes that his girls will bounce back to play and beat South Africa?
Well, I don't think that if anything went wrong, it went wrong because we lost to Cameroon. When I watched the first game against Malawi, I noted it now on X, and I said there's something wrong with these Falcons. When we beat Zambia, I also felt that the team was not playing like it should play. And even the 6-2 win against Egypt, yes, we beat Egypt 6-2, but we are shaky at some point. So we lost to Cameroon.
The audio is a bit muffled. Would you want to take out the AirPods so we can hear you clearly? You can. That would be very, very nice to have you, because the audio is a bit muffled, because we really like to hear your take where you think it went wrong, because you are saying that it didn't go wrong because we lost to Cameroon, and you said when we played against our first game against Malawi, I think that was your point you're trying to make, that was where you noticed I was getting to falter for the Super Falcons of Nigeria. So let's hear you.
Yeah, so I was saying, even when we lost to, even when we beat Egypt 6-2, there was just something wrong with how the girls were playing. So for me, I think I felt the team looked like the coaching was not right, and the players seemed unfit at most times. But then again, the counter argument was this was the same coach that won the WAFCON 2 years ago, and these are basically the same players. So what could have gone wrong in 2 years? But the point is that it's not because we lost to Cameroon. This team has not played well since this WAFCON started. Now, can we beat South Africa? Yes, we can, if the Super Falcons play against South Africa. But no, we can't if the team we have seen in the last 4 games play against South Africa, and I don't think we can win. So have we forgiven Madugu? Listen, it's not for me to say, but if he can make it through the playoffs and get to the World Cup, the Nigerians may just forgive him.
Right. You know, a lot of Nigerian football fans were already convinced after that loss to Malawi, saying that, look, the Super Falcons will not win this year's tournament, but they were only begging them to just qualify for the FIFA Women's World Cup. Now, that has not happened automatically, but we have a backdoor chance. Now, is it a case of Nigeria not playing well under Justin Madugu, or shouldn't we also look at the other African teams who have said, look, we are tired of seeing Nigeria win this thing. It is not their birthright to win this tournament. Let's look for every other means. Let's improve our football to knock out the 10-time African champions. So shouldn't we give kudos to the other teams for getting better while we are busy living on past glory? As we've done it before, we can always do it again.
Yes, because if you don't buy the ticket, you can't win the lottery. The Cameroonian team had to turn up, or else they would have won the game. When that free kick was placed, they had to strike the ball right, or else they wouldn't have scored the goal. And even after scoring the goal, they actually had to defend well, or else they wouldn't have. So I can't take anything away from the Cameroonians or even the Malawians. They've done a lot to improve their football, but I'm talking Nigeria here. Kudos to Cameroon. They will play in the World Cup. Kudos to Malawi, they will play in the World Cup and for beating the Falcons. But talking about the Falcons now, we just haven't gotten it right. And if you want to talk about Nigerian football, it will seem like I'm talking because we have lost to Cameroon. But if you know me and you've followed me on social media in the past 10 years, you know I've always spoken about how Nigerian football is dying. But every time we win one tournament or we qualify for one World Cup, the NFF lifts it up as an ambition. Oh, we won the Under-17 World Cup. Oh, we qualified for the AFCON final. Oh, we are in this World Cup. It seems like an achievement. But see, the core duties of a football federation, it's lacking. Football is not developing. And even if you had beaten Cameroon and qualified for the World Cup, it wouldn't have changed the fact that Nigerian football is dying. And right from when Amadou Pinnick was NFL president, I think they neglected football in the country. I chose to face other things. And as we get back to actually developing football, we are going to see more of this. We are going to win some games. We are going to win some tournaments. We are going to qualify for some World Cups. But it doesn't mean that we are doing the right thing. We have not done the right thing in about 10 years now. We have not done the right thing.
Jidechi, thank you for joining again. And thanks for the network not allowing you to stay away for too long. Now, a lot of football fans are still saying that one of the reasons why we did not perform well at the Women's Africa Cup of Nations is because we had a FIFA window where we did not have enough friendly games. The question is, with or without the friendly games, would anything have changed for the Super Falcons?
Friendly games are necessary. I think it's just like the last speaker just said. We have gotten so relaxed with football administration in this part of the world. We shouldn't even be having this conversation about friendly games because it's an administrative failure for us to be having this kind of conversation about if friendly games are necessary or not, right? Friendly games are necessary. The players need to stay informed. It's a part of the game that is never taken away because there are times when the players, especially in national team football, the players are never together. So you need to get in tune going into major competitions. Yes, there might be the conversation about how girls played a couple of friendly games, but there's always that conversation of the number of friendly games they are playing. Is it ever enough? Because when we look at the men's national team, they get a lot of preparatory period before they go into major competitions, and it's not the same thing for the women's side. But even beside the friendly games, I think it's generally a case of administrative failure, right? We've treated football with a lot of lackadaisical approach, and it's beginning to tell on our game. There's no much difference between what the Super Falcons of the previous times achieved and what the Super Falcons of now are expected to achieve. We can see when we ask ourselves, okay, what is a benchmark? What can we say is the difference between then and now? Look at Morocco. You can clearly see that they are on a pathway. This is a team that we are in they did qualify for the Women's AFCON some years back, did not get to qualify a couple of tournaments, and they finally came back. And in their last 3 tournaments, they made the semifinals, not just because they are lucky, but because there has been that intentional approach to it. And the intentionality you can see is not just with their women's team. You can also see it with their youth teams. Their men's senior team got into the final of the last AFCON. These are things that you will see is an administrative approach, and it's part of the reasons why we are beginning to struggle. Because we will talk about the women's AFCON, but even beyond the women's AFCON, the men's national team did not qualify for back-to-back World Cups. The women's team, for the first time, is not qualifying for the World Cup via the automatic process. At some point, you cannot stick to saying, oh, it's just a team issue. It's definitely administrative. And we need to be able to figure out how to go from here, because the truth is that we can only go down from here, Oduka.
All right, we also have Onyechi Obaro, who joins us, our correspondent currently in Morocco, representing New Central right there. Onyechi, thank you very much for joining. I hear that there was a press conference earlier on for one of the semi-final games between Cameroon and Morocco. What's happening over there?
A lot is happening, Udoka, I'll tell you. It's a good weather here. We are at the Moulay Hassan Stadium, one of Morocco's beautiful stadiums that's been hosting this competition. Right here is where we watched that game between Morocco and South Africa. So this is where South Africa were ousted from this competition, and now we'll have to vie for a ticket to the World Cup through the playoff facing Nigeria. But we are fixing our attention on what is at stake at the present, at present, and that is the semi-final match between Malawi, Algeria, and the host nation, Morocco and Cameroon. We just finished with the Cameroonian pre-match press conference, having the player representing the whole squad, Gabriel, and the coach of the side, Ngwele. It was a great conversation with journalists and the coach and player. But one key thing here is that Cameroon has got the support from home. They've got massive support from home. It is understood that they get daily updates from the coach down to the federation. The federation keeps a tab on the coach. After these girls picked a historic ticket, I would say a historic ticket, because they've not been in this competition for 2 years right now, a hiatus. And right now they're back to this competition, and the first time they are returning, they are picking an automatic ticket. I would like to test the polls of journalists from Cameroon and understand what the situation at home looks like. What is the support the coach is getting? What are the responses the players have gotten since ousting the 10-time African champion? We've got Joshua over here. Joshua, you're live on News Central, and we are on in the game. Joshua, it's a mind-blowing thing for the Indomitable Lionesses to oust a defending champion, oust a 10-time African champion. Being the fact that you did not make it to this competition through the qualifiers, you made this competition as a wild card. Let's call it that way. What is the feeling at home? What has been the reaction after that historic win by the Indomitable Lionesses? And what is the support they are getting right now going into the semi-final?
You know, first of all, for Cameroonians, it's been celebrations upon celebrations. You know, the extension bringing us back to the game, saw us celebrate. And of course, having a new staff come in with Valentin Gele, Lipov, and the others, they trained the girls coming to the tournament. I mean, they had 37 days to prepare. And of course, from the first game, we got the win, and it was wild celebrations. Cameroonians started believing that, yes, this is a team to hope on. And then came the second game, Cameroon still won, and of course, the celebrations continued. Against Cape Verde, though players rested, and we didn't get the win. We got a point and still qualified the first. So coming in to the semi-finals, the Cameroonians were scared. It brought us memories of Cameroon having to lose against Nigeria several times. And I mean, we believed only in the fighting spirit, because on paper, on records, 10-time champions Nigeria, a great scare. But of course, it happened and the Cameroonians won. And when you get to beat 10-time champions, the Queens of Africa, Nigeria, even though we are going to face Morocco in the final.
That's where it gets a bit dicey, because Morocco is not a pushover team. They are looking to pick their first ever trophy for this WAFCON, being the fact that the dominant factor, Nigeria, is now out of the competition. So there's a likelihood we crown a new champion. Do you see the Indomitable Lionesses picking the ticket from the wild card down to picking the automatic ticket to the World Cup? And right now, do you see them lifting this trophy?
You know, already beating the defending champions means that Cameroon can get the job done. You know, they always say, if you want to be champion, then beat the champions. We've gotten Nigeria out of the way. Now we are facing Morocco. They are searching for the first. We are searching for the first. Yeah. And, you know, Coach Vilda said the pressure now is on Cameroon, which is, I mean, playing in front of over 22,000 Moroccan fans. I mean, that atmosphere is something else. But we will also remind them of Fandena, which is the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium in Cameroon, where, I mean, playing there in front of all Cameroonians is an atmosphere that you cannot imagine. So, against Morocco, if the girls can keep on winning the Hemley, the spirit of Cameroonians to fight till the end. We saw it against Ghana. We saw it against Nigeria, the best. And against Morocco in Morocco, it's going to be a tough one, but we can see the girls pulling through.
All right, before I go back to my colleague, we saw some of the players, you know, losing steam. We saw a bit of injuries for the team when they faced the Super Falcons of Nigeria. Do you think the coach has got her arsenals, you know, on the bench to execute this game against Morocco? Morocco are a fast-paced team. They're tactical team, technically, you know, grown team. They've done this for years. Do you see Cameroon at this time going past a team like that?
You talked about
injuries, right?
Yeah, about the injuries. You know, when the deputy captain Colette Zana went off on injury, a player came on. That is Ousmane Doudou. She actually plays in the Cameroonians' local league. Her first 10 minutes of the game, she was playing simple. But when she got into the game, we now saw a young player who was ready to give it all, to sell herself and to fight for the badge of Cameroon, which means that all the players that Cameroon brought to this tournament are actually ready to live up to expectation. They are all soldiers, and if there's any injury or any player that comes onto the pitch is ready to deliver.
Okay, what has been the reaction? Are we hearing of any rewards at home after ousting the Super Falcons of Nigeria? Are we hearing money? Are we hearing land? What are we hearing at home?
You know, first of all, we've not had any money promises yet, but the appearance fee for this tournament for the girls was already boosted, because we already heard of 30 million just to represent Cameroon in the tournament. Okay. So that is already something to boost the girls. And I told someone that coming to play against Nigeria, knowing a qualification ticket for the World Cup is coming, which means that if you get 30 million francs CFA for just the AFCON, then what if you qualify for the World Cup? That means more money.
I love to hear money, Udoka. It gets me smiling, and that is what I just heard right now. So it's all about more money for the girls with the advancement in this competition. But I tell you, the money is not for them great motivating factor. It is all about that mentality to win, that mentality to return to this competition and then return with a bang. That is what the Indomitable Lionesses are doing right now. So we await that game between Algeria and Malawi and the host nation Morocco and Cameroon.
Thank you very much, Acheru Barrow, giving us our updates that are happening right there in Morocco, Rabat to be precise. Beautiful updates. And of course, from the Cameroonian journalists, we look forward to giving them more kudos and hoping that they can do the job against Morocco. Thank you very much. And before I let Chana Acheru go, now we're going to have a new tournament champion. Which of these teams do you think will lift the trophy? Malawi, Algeria, Cameroon, Morocco. Also noting that Malawi are debutants in this tournament. They've made their debut appearance at the World Cup.
Been knocking on the door for so long. This might be their chance. But you see the Malawians, I saw a Malawian video that said the only reason why the Falcons won the trophy 10 times was because Malawi had not participated yet. And now they are here, they'll win the trophy. So if they put their money where their mouth is, maybe them. But Morocco takes my bet, because they've been knocking on the door for a long time now. This might be their chance. No South Africa, no Nigeria, no Ghana.
All right, we look forward to all of that action right there at the Women's Africa Cup of Nations. Thank you very much, Chana Acheru, for joining us on the show today. Jidechi, the same question goes to you. Who do you think will win the tournament? Before I let you go.
I think it's very clear where the winner of this tournament is probably coming from. The parts of Morocco and Cameroon, anybody that wins that game, I think it's very clear that the winner of the tournament comes from that part of the semi-finals, because Cameroon have been in the finals a lot of times. They've competed. They've lost a lot of moments to Nigeria in the final. Morocco have been in back-to-back, and this would be the third of 3 WAFCONs that they are hosting. They probably would not host the next WAFCON, so they will be ones to definitely win this one on home. So I think anybody that wins the semi-final between Morocco and Cameroon definitely wins the WAFCON. The other side of the pairing has Algeria, who are competing at this level for the first time, their first semi-final appearance. It's new for them. And then you have Malawi, who are debutants that have somehow impressed everyone and got into this stage of the competition. I think for the other side of the pairing, it's most likely a case of experience. But Morocco, Cameroon, they've both been in the finals before and they both lost on more than one occasion. I think anybody that gets into the final again will be taking it with both arms.
All right, sir. We look forward to all of that action happening over there in Morocco. Morocco versus Cameroon. Then, of course, Algeria versus Malawi. Thank you very much, Jidechi, for joining us on the show today.